Hello and welcome. My name's Rebecca and today we're going to be going through how to fill out this early years learning framework mind map for your professional portfolios for your children. Okay, so this is the template as you will see it. The first page is a blank template. The second page is going to be the mind map that we're filling out now as an example. I would first, however many children you have, I would duplicate this page, put the date and their name in. So let's do that. So we can click on this text box, press delete, and let's say the month is March. With a capital 2022, and then let's put a name in. We'll say Lucy's mind map, and that should be centered. And then we go to this tab up here, which is the plus. And we'll click on that, and that will add a duplicate page. And then we'll change that name. Oh, now my thing isn't coming up. Let's say George. George's mind map. And so let's say we have 5 children, which is pretty normal amount. Say we're doing senior kindy or pre-prep and you have around 20 children and you might have 2 or 3 educators. So if you've got 2 educators, you've got 10 to do. If you've got 3, see if you can divide it up between 5 per person. So let's duplicate again. And then this way, as you go through to complete them, you know that you've done each child or how many children you have left to do. And let's say Louise, I-S-E, space, how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, duplicate, who else? Ugh. Touch the pencil and now it's funny. Oscar, and one more. Let's say Olivia. Olivia's mind map. And then you know how many you've got to do. So once you get to the end, you're at the end. Okay, so once we've got our name and our date, we can get started in filling in our 5 sections of social, emotional, cognitive, and language physical. And underneath the name here, we have a nice little quote, which I've taken from the Early Years Learning Framework document, the PDF. It said, children's learning is dynamic, complex, and holistic. Physical, social, emotional, personal, spiritual, creative, cognitive, and linguistic aspects of learning are all intricately interwoven and interrelated. And then I've got a reference for the quote there. So this gives a holistic view of your child as they are. And I got given this as one of the very first observations I had to do in my room, and I found it very difficult because I didn't know the children yet. So I think if you're brand new to a centre and a room, I would make this sort of the March observation if you've been there since January. And it's good to do early on because down here we've got some goals. So you have an overview of how the child is. We can set some goals. And as we achieve them, we can write a date in there and the comment about them and how they're going with it. And then we can revisit with another one of these sheets later on in the year, maybe October. We can do another one and see how they're going. If they've met all those goals, then you can set some new goals. So what we need to do now that we have our template is split screen. So if you go up to the three little dots up the top, and then we press the second one along, gives us a split screen. And I'm going to provide you with a link to this, which is from the ACEQA website, which is the developmental milestones and the early years learning framework. So we're going to use this document in conjunction to fill out the mind map. So Lucy is my daughter, which I'm going to be thinking of her while I'm doing this first example, and she is 4, nearly turning 5. So she's in the pre-prep classroom, and we're going to go from the 4 to 5. So you go through here, see we've got 4 to 8 months. With the babies, you've got lots of different little sections because they develop so fast. 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5 I think is what we'll use. Yep. So the 3 to 5. So if your child is just turned 3, you can go back to the 2 to 3 years, you know, if they're closer to just turned 3. And if they're closer to 5, like Lucy, we can go through these ones. So our first one is social. And I just go through these and see what she can do. So if she can't yet do something, then we can leave it out, or we can go back to the social of here to say that she can do these things. And then you can just use the language here too. So let's go social. We can click on here. Oh, I'm going to put my pencil away. Okay. So we can say Lucy is able, let's say we're going to do this one, to hold let's say a pencil at that age, a pencil between her thumb and first 2 fingers. And so here you can also say she is able, she is developing her ability to, if she's just started but not quite there yet. I've lost my internet. Yeah, so able to or developing her ability to. So we're not really writing anything negative about the child. And if she's not able to at all, we could probably go back to here and choose something from here. And if we think that that's something she should be able to do and we can teach it, we can pop it in our goals. It should be over here. Well, let's say continue editing. So let's say she couldn't do it, and we'll write provide activities to develop Lucy's hand strength. Yeah, you probably start there. If she's unable to, if she's still holding it in a like fist, we'd probably provide activities to develop her hand strength, like the Play-Doh, tweezers, pegs, things like that, and then work on her writing tool group. Advancing, or to advance her writing mental grip to the next level of modified. Modified, can't remember what it's called. So if we go to Google, add a page, let's go writing grip children, pencil grip child development, that's it. I really like this particular image. So here we go. She should be in the tripod grasp, 4.5 to 7 years, and say she's still in the digital. So we're going to the next level of modified tripod grasp. So don't be afraid to look up the terminology of things. Let's just go back to here. Modified tripod. So that's the other great thing about split screen. There we go. And then here we can leave, oh whoops, I didn't mean to delete it, go back. We can write the date that we provided that activity and some comments about it. So let's say that was 25th of the 3rd, 22. Okay, and we could do even like a little jotting about that goes after this mind map. So you could do these mind maps at the beginning of the month, and then after that, as you do it, we can place pages of where you provided this activity, and then you can write some comments about it. Or if you've provided a lot of activities over the month, so then you use these mind maps to do your planning. And in your plan, you decide, okay, we're going to do Play-Doh every day. We're going to have activities where we peg on pegs, whatever else. Take photos of this child through the month and then put them in a collage, and then go back and see how the writing grip is going later in the year when you redo this. So let's say she is developing her ability. And then that goal will make sense. Now I just left room for 3 goals because you've got a lot of children in your class. And by the time you write 3 goals for 5 children, that's a lot of planning for your whole month. So that's another reason why these mind maps are really good, because it helps you see what do I need to teach my children as well. So let's say that. I'm just thinking that's weird to have in social. Am I in the right section? No, that was, oh, that's in physical, sorry. So let's just thinking that's not a social goal thing. And then you can just click on it and drag, and it will move it around. And you'll get lines to tell you that everything's lined up, which is what I really love about Canva, is everything looks neat. Okay, so there's that. Let's go back to social. So, Lucy enjoys playing with other children. And because that's just a short sentence, we could write something else personal about the child that you've seen her playing with other children. She is often observed playing with her friends in home corner. Something like that. It's not perfect, but it's something. Okay, what else does she like to do? Oh yeah, she has a particular friend. She jointly manipulates objects with 1 or 2 other peers. So, and you know, you could write something personal there. Lucy enjoys building with Duplo Lego with her friends, maybe her 2 close friends, closest friends, making houses for their dolls. Okay, next thing, I'm just going to move that down a bit, and so you can line them up. You just drag it down and it lines up. So I can make it all nice. Am I in the right thing? Yes, social. Shares, smiles and cooperates with peers. And then, so say she's not doing that. We'll go down to the last one. Unlikely to share toys without protest. So it's developmentally appropriate for younger children. Simple make-believe play. And then in the goals you might write something else. Oh, let's talk about something that Lucy is developing is her conflict resolution skills. I know that's not written in developmental milestones, but that's something, you know, socially she's fine, but as soon as there's a problem, she goes straight to a teacher instead of telling the other child. So instead of saying, you know, another child takes her toy, instead of saying, I was playing with that, give it back, she'll go straight to a teacher and say, hey, such and such took my toy. So that's a goal we're going to support her with, that we can write in the goals. So obviously there's 5 areas, and there's, you know, if they're developing in a lot of areas, or, you know, you think they're a little bit behind or need development, you're just going to choose your 3 most important goals. Because as I said, over 5 different children or 10 different children you're doing, 3 goals is going to be so much for the next 3 or 4 months for you to program. So let's say Lucy is developing her ability to resolve conflicts with peers with the assistance of her educators. So anything you write that they're developing their ability is something that you can set a goal for. So I'm going to go through and fill in the rest. So we're going to have an example for you if you purchase this template. But you can see how nice it's going to look. It's really professional, and it covers everything. So that's how we fill that out using the developmental milestones from the Early Years Learning Framework, and it meets the national quality standards. Okay, so I've finished filling out my template for the mind map, and Lucy was able to do a lot of things that she should be able to do for her age group, but in the physical she had a lot of developing. So she was developing her ability to hold the pencil, which we wrote the first comment for, the first goal I should say. Then I wrote, Lucy is developing her ability to climb playground equipment with increasing agility. And I've set a goal for that, which is provide assistance and encouragement while she's down at the fort to climb and use the slide more frequently, and provide more opportunities. I'm going to need to fix my spelling there. To use the obstacle course. So something we did for a lot of our children who they would not go on the fort at all. They didn't use the fireman pole. They didn't go down the slides. They just avoided the fort because their core strength wasn't very good. If you're not good at something, then you don't want to go and do it. So to strengthen their core and their gross motor skills, we have a veranda adjacent to our room. If you didn't have that, then you would allow them to do this in the big yard. You would set something up and then take some children out. This is a good indoor-outdoor. You could split your classroom into two if you have two educators, 10 outside, 10 inside, and swap them over. But anyway, we set up an obstacle course for the children every single day. So the dates that you put here, you can, that can be the date of your jotting about providing this to the children. I think it's really good to set these goals and then provide evidence that you did do these activities, and then a little outcome, have they improve later when you do your second mind map to say, yep, they have the ability to go on the fort now. They are using the bikes now because you encouraged them and you provided the activities to build this skill. So that's what we've got there. And then the third one was she's developing her self-help skills, such as feeding herself with cutlery and getting dressed and undressing by herself. So I set a goal here, which is more about getting dressed. For the eating with cutlery, you can say that you're going to assist her, sit with her at meal times, show her how to use her cutlery. You might hand over hand, prompt her and encourage her to use the cutlery. And that's something that you could do every single day with her. And by the end of the month, you'll be able to show that you've done that. And so if you're sitting down with her at the table and assisting her, you can get the other educators to take photos of you and her and show that you're doing that. And then at the end of the month, hopefully you can take a photo of her doing it by herself, which would be really nice. And you can say, yes, she achieved this goal. So again, we've got the date of our jotting that we're going to do. So obviously you'd leave this blank while you're filling it out, the dates I mean. And then when you go back through your photos, you'll have this in your mind when you're planning. When you go back through your photos of the month, you can do a quick jotting, put the dates on there. But so I've just addressed on here how we're going to help her do her self-help skills of dressing herself. So we're going to provide activities for self-help skills, that's supposed to say, such as learn to dress boards. I didn't know what they were called, so I did go and Google. Let's see what search. Self-help activity boards is what I searched, and what I was looking for is these boards. So we can provide that as an activity on the tables where we will encourage them to use, probably the zip is the easiest, then the buckle, the snaps, the buttons, then the tie and the lacing will be the hardest. So, and we can take photos of that. These are the activities that we provided to build this skill. So as I said, if you don't know the name of something, just go and Google it, and you can even get pictures. If you don't have those, you can ask your director to buy them, hopefully. But that's a really good activity for that. So that's that all filled out, and the template is now ready. And so there's lots of examples for you. The other great thing about this video and this template is that if you split your observations between the educators in the room, whether it be 10 and 10 or 5, 5, 5, if you have 3 educators, you can direct those other educators to this video, which is going to teach them how to fill it out. The worst thing sometimes is, as a lead educator, you know how to do these, but you don't have the time to do it all yourself, especially when you only have 2 hours programming and you have 22 children. So you may need to give up some programming time for your educators, or you may need to do some cleaning so that they can do it during rest time, if that's possible. Try not to do anything at home. But then you can direct them to this video. Please watch this video. It's going to show you how to fill them out. Easy. And then you're saving time. So, you know, this is going to save you time because you don't have to make this nice template. And also, once you've got the first one done, think of similar children, and then you can copy paste and just change a few things that makes it special to that child, especially like those little personal bits that they do. But that will also help save time, and then just change your goals. Once all the mind maps are done, go through and see who has similar goals, and that will help you with your programming. So when you program an activity, you can even write in your daily program the children that you're targeting. It's going to help everybody. And then during that day, you know, okay, that's who I've got to take a lot of photos of that child doing that activity so that I can do my jottings. So thank you so much for watching. There is a link to this mind map template in the description down below if you would like to purchase it. Again, as I said, you can direct your other educators to this video. I'm going to have the link to all the resources that I've used, like the ACEQA document for development and the Early Years Learning Framework. Next video, we're going to talk about writing up the jottings that go with these and the template that will be included. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.